Britain, whose homeland is abroad, and looks at life within the Italian community of South Wales.
Got a splinter in his hand there. I don't know where he had it from.
Do you want Mama to take him home?
He wants that splinter out.
Charlie Ross's family have had a cafe in Church Street, Vale since 1923. Charlie was born there. Italians have been coming to South Wales since the end of the last century. In those days, they walked over. Life was tough in the small village of Bardi where they came from, and with the mines prospering, they thought there was money to be made. It is said that Giacomo Bracchi was the first Italian to settle in South Wales. And even now, Italians living in the Ronda are known as the Bracchis. They started the cafe business, or temperance bars as they were known then.
I know my father used to open a shop at 5:45 in the morning. And the reason for that was because just down the road, there was a colliery. So, of course, they were catching the night shift coming home and the day shift going in. Of course, they were open then till 12 o'clock at night, and they'd get the full circle, the full almost 24-hour shift. He went on like that for quite a long time, making his own ice cream by hand, and of course it was very hard work. I can still see him now with the old spoon shoveling away like.
Yes, please.
We know them as cafes today, but in those days they were called temperance bars, and they were more or less a meeting place for everybody. That was the only place they could go. They talked politics, religion, sport, anything. I think everything was decided in the cafes or in the back room of the cafes. That's all right then. Hello. Can you have a sweet? You had one this morning from school? All right, then go on have it. There was no teas or coffees in those days. They'd either have an oxo with a cream cracker and either football stout or sarsaparilla. That was the main drink of those days. In Evervale at one time there were 6 cafes, whereas now there's only 2 or 3 left. And the way that it's going on, the younger generation are not interested in this type of work, possibly because it's too hard to work. It's too many hours, and I don't blame them in a way. If they can get a living somewhere else, easier hours.
Ciao Charlie.
Hello, ciao Nick. How are you?
Cappuccino?
Yes, certainly I'll make you one. Sugar? I think the days of the cafes as we know it, or as the older people know it, are coming to the end in the valleys, which is a sorry thing, but it's one of those things, I suppose. Oh, I had a card off Maria this morning. Yeah, I had one. Very nice. Yeah.
How's Maria?
Very well, thank you. Yes, Giovanni, they're all well on. I'll do their market, thank goodness.
So you're going to see us from here?
I'm open to have my little holidays this year again.
Great,
I'll put a
lovely.
little notice on it. Go back in 10 minutes and I'll
that's
go
all right.
for a little holiday.
I look after your house.
Anyway, I think that the Abervalians have accepted the Italians in these valleys. 10 years ago, I stood as a councillor for the council. I was lucky. I got in. They voted for me, but quite a few of the elderly people, as I went around, said, yes, we'll give you a vote, Charlie, but it isn't for you, it's for the memory of your father.
Can we have some tomatoes, 2 please, nice and ripe, a nice big ones, is it, Giovanni? And some plums, some
Red ones or white ones?
red ones, please. Those are figs, Giovanni.
Would you like a cherry, Giovanni? Would you like a cherry, darling?
Say thank you. Just for,
2, yes.
say ask if Claudia likes cherries.
Yes, she does, darling, yes.
She likes cherries, does she? Oh, do you want me to carry something?
Yes, please.
Right,
Thank
Mel,
you.
right, let's go inside and we'll have the bill. I think that's all I want now.
Would you like some baked beans?
Oh, you've
supper?
got baked beans, have you?
Yes.
Oh, well, we'll have baked beans.
Baked beans on
Giovanni's
toast.
will have baked beans on toast tonight,
There
is
you
it?
are.
Hey.
Okey-doke.
Giovanni's never eaten baked beans.
No? Claudia likes them.
Should we go for the police? Go put them on Claudia here. You are. Go put them on Claudia.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, Maria,
Lovely,
that's
thanks. How
fine.
much is that?
That's 14,850.
Say bye-bye to Claudia then. Let's go. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Claudia. Say ciao.
It's gone completely full circle now because my father, my mother came over 35 years ago. I went on holidays to Italy. I met my wife and we got married over there. 4 years ago, my daughter met a young lad over there and they got married. They're over in Italy. So as it is now, I've got one grandson in Italy who's Italian and I've got one grandson in Wales who's Welsh.
Bardi is a small town nestling in the Apennine Hills of northern Italy. Most of the 3,500 people living here have relatives in Wales. And in the surrounding hamlets, scattered up and down the Valceno, you are never far from a Welsh accent, even though it may be tempered with a local dialect.
Did you find any problems?
I didn't find any at all. Missed the sort of cream buns and sausage. But I thought I was pregnant at the time. But
Well, I miss Marks and Spencer's.
and I miss Wall's pork sausage. The cream's not nice here, is it? It's
No.
not the same.
No.
Neither's the butter or the milk.
No, it's not salty.
I haven't found a decent bookshop since I've been over here.
Glamorgan Gazette things. Glamorgan? The Glamorgan Gazette. Glamorgan Gazette.
I miss the Gwen Gazette, but my father sends it over
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Isn't the same reading in there?
In the summer, there's lots of people and you seem to have lots of friends, more than you normally have at home. But when you come to live here, things are much different. They don't accept me as being Italian. I'm English to them. It's the same. In England, I'm Italian.
Well, our children are bilingual.
Yeah.
So is my dog, actually. And so the chickens, I call them in both languages.
The dog outside our house, I tend to shout at him in English and he understands more than he understands the Italian.
But over here is more quiet, more relaxed, go out fishing, go out in the mountain, and you know, and I got still a lot of friends over here. I made a lot in Wales as well, but you know, my heart would always be in Italy. Of course, Marie, she was very happy because she liked Italy. But Angelina was, you know, she liked it over there and she liked it over here. Two minds she was.
But the life here is so much different, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
it's much
tranquil,
calmer.
calmer. I mean,
No, I miss a milkman and
knocking at the door.
knocking at the door and the newspaper boy and somebody to clean the windows.
At the turn of the century, Bardi was a desolate place. The land was poor, families were large and struggled to survive. There were farmers, woodcutters. Wood cut from the hills surrounding Bardi was sent to Swansea and Cardiff to be used as brick props, and coal was sent back to Genoa. Stories were told of a land where the streets were paved with gold. and the young men left their fields and walked to Wales, thousands of them.
I think my father walked over when he first went. Stopped in Paris for a few months, earned a few francs, and walked into Calais or one of the ports and got a passage over.
Who would you say originally, were the first? The
Actually, the Burnies and the Rabaiotis, and I think the others followed later on.
Well, my father went over when he was about 11 years of age. My two uncles were already over there working for the Burnies.
They left Bardi to get jobs. They didn't have nothing to do and no means to get any money. And so they came to this country, some to work in the mines.
Then a friend of his said, why don't you go to Wales? There is, I should think, more business. Because the miners then were working and they used to spend too. And said, go and make if you could have a little shop, just selling ice cream, sweets, cigarettes, then maybe you do well. When they went down, 3 or 4 of them made a little company. It was a Berni, Rabaiotti, Carpanini. And they start off with just 1 or 2 men working for them. Then they came over. Once my father, he brought over 10.
I came because I had a brother. I wrote to him to send me the papers to come in and the money. I came. My mother said, if you want to get married, you're 28. I was 28. 1919. And I said, Mom, I haven't got a penny in my pocket. My mother said, I got a bit of money. She said, I'm not broke. I said, no. I knew what my father had to struggle to wear this up. I'm not doing the same. I'm going.
Brother followed brother, and then cousins were asked to make the trip. Originally, they signed on for a period of 5 years. Used to open air and open space, they were put into small valley cafes, closed in with no freedom and very little money for their long hours. But they had ambition.
I've done it for a few years. Then I got married and I had 3 kids the first 3 years. And I said, we could hardly live before, we cannot live now. I was paying my way, but not quick enough. And going for a walk, I spotted all the buses pulling up there, dropping all the men who was going to work, taking them on. I said, that's the bloody place to our shop. I built the shop myself. As soon as I opened that one, I began to pick up, and I paid everybody.
It wasn't very long before every town in South Wales had at least one Italian cafe. Suddenly, everything changed. On June the 10th, 1940, Italy declared war with Britain. Immediately, all those Italians who were not British subjects were picked up by the police as enemy aliens. Italians in South Wales were taken to Maindee barracks